Jesus. A lot of open caskets. A lot of open graves. If ever there would be a place that was haunted, like this would be it.
We departed what remained of the abandoned graveyard and continued to climb Highway 21 onto the Bolivian Altiplano, to the outskirts of Uyuni. Originally a trading post at the crossroads of a critical railway junction connecting Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina at the turn of the 20th century. And the relics of that bygone era live here at the train cemetery. Despite being the city's second most popular attraction, we were long past the haunting hour for organized tours and had the collection of rusting boxcars and locomotives all to ourselves. So we decided to have a quick spin around and take advantage of the golden light of sunset for a few photos.
Good job.
Not to mention a quick drone flight.
It working?
It's...
Doors all jammed. Just see if it'll turn on.
yeah.
But as it turns out, trains aren't the only things that come here to die. Our drone was on life support and apparently wasn't willing to wait for nature to take its course.
What happened?
It wouldn't fly back here, and I caught it on the other side of the train. It was just slamming itself into the ground, up and down. It was like, bam, bam.
Oh.
And then it finally just like collapsed.
That's suicide.
Huh?
That's suicide.
Yeah, the drone committed suicide.
Busted drone in tow, we bobbed and weaved our way through the rusted remnants of the train cemetery, over the tracks and into Uyuni. Where we would bob and weave our way through the ever-present street vendors and soak up a bit of local flavor before calling it a night. The next morning, after breakfast at the Llama Cafe and a bit of reconnaissance work, we packed up for the salt flats before finally contending with one of Bolivia's most storied and ire-inspiring topics in overlanding circles: the gas pump.
En todo Bolivia les van a vender el litro a 9.60. Yo sin boleta estoy dando a 6.
Okay. ¿Solo efectivo o tarjeta?
Solo efectivo.
Okay, bien.
1 liter 6 per.
Ah, completo.
A litra 6.
6 bolivianos.
Sí.
Sí, claro. Entiendo.
Gas and diesel in Bolivia are heavily subsidized by the government. For years, people from surrounding countries made a business of illegally exporting fuel and reselling it.
All right, so that was 6 bolivianos per liter, which is still under $1 a liter, which is a hell of a lot more than the locals are paying, but I mean, all things considered, it's not really all that expensive.
Yeah, and everything that I read, I'm actually surprised that we were able to get it so quickly. And there was, because generally speaking, I was reading that they wouldn't pay attention to you.
Yeah.
They would leave you just
Well,
waiting.
there is nobody else here, so I mean, so far so good. Overcharged, paying gringo prices, but I mean, it's either that or we don't get gas.
Yeah.
To help combat this black market fuel trade, the government restricted sales to Bolivian residents with valid vehicle registration, making it exceedingly difficult, expensive, and sometimes downright impossible for foreigners to purchase fuel. Topped off and on the road, we made the short ride to one of the few points of entry to the salt flats, where we stopped briefly to mark our territory before queuing up behind the dozens of tour operators en route to the Salar De Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat. Maps of this saline desert are nearly non-existent and practically impossible to find. And due to the highly reflective nature of its blinding surface, satellite images are near worthless. There are no roads in the traditional sense on the Salar, just a few well-worn paths fanning out between the various points of interest, such as the Plaza de Banderas and Isla Incahuasi, which serves as the crossroads for the primary paths bisecting the salt flats. And while you might not think you would need a map for this unobstructed lunar landscape, people have lost their lives placing that same bet. The first stop on our self-guided tour was the Ojos del Salar,
Wow,
or the eyes of the salt flats,
very wild.
where the freshwater aquifers deep beneath the meters-thick salt crust bubble to the surface.
Very cool.
A good place to be mindful of where you walk and prep your motorcycle for the potentially devastating impact of one of the world's most corrosive environments.
I actually had to go to a hardware store this morning and ask them for WD-40. They didn't know what WD-40 was, so I asked them if they had lubricante, and they told me to go to the pharmacy, so I think they misunderstood.
While Chad applied copious amounts of Flow 40, as the locals call it, to the Africa Twin, I used this opportunity to press one of the guides for a little intel.
Rose is trying to get some info from one of the guides. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Hola, ¿cómo está, amigo?
Bien, 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 gracias.
With a bit of inside information, We set off for the playa's most popular destination, the Plaza de Banderas, or Plaza of Flags, home of the insta-famous Dakar Monument, and the Palacio de Sal, the original salt hotel.
Look at that.
Now you have to ride it.
Take it easy, brother. Good to meet you.
After hanging out and taking pictures with a group of Thai tourists, we decided to bust out the lube in an effort to resurrect the drone.
Well, using WD-40 on a drone is probably ill-advised, but I mean, it's dead anyway, so.
To commemorate the epicness of the moment. But unfortunately, the drone was having none of it.
We've lucked out with the timing.
Definitely.
Looking a lot less like the middle of nowhere and a lot more like Fort Lauderdale.
So the epicness would just have to wait until I was done shopping for some protection of my own.
So this is the original Salt Hotel. The OG. It is no longer a hotel. It's just kind of a dining hall now. Yeah. Look at this place. Did somebody buy some new sunglasses? Do they fit in your helmet?
I think they're used, but they're new to me.
They're pre-owned.
At 3,650 meters, 12,000 feet above sea level, UV exposure is upwards of 120% greater than at sea level. Combined with the highly reflective surface of the salt, snow blindness, or salt blindness, is a real issue on the Salar.
Oh, yeah, you go completely blind once you take your glasses off.
And while Chad's Oakleys were up to the task,
Even with my Oakleys on, I still, my eyes are sensitive to it.
my $4 knockoffs, not so much. After soaking in the epicness of the Salar's most popular hotspot, we set off with my certified pre-owned knockoffs on our way to Isla Incahuasi. Approximately 60 roadless kilometers away, in the heart of the salt flats.
Not really much in the way of road signs out here. Looks like we kind of need to be going off in that direction. There's a big truck right there. I mean, it's impossible to get lost. All else fails, we just aim for the volcano.
With no real roads or points of reference, it's almost impossible to plot a straight course, akin to a ship without a compass. And as if that wasn't enough, our sea of salt just so happened to have a few potholes.
So apparently these are the holes you need to watch out for. They can end your ride. There's a few of them out here.
The playa, covering the prehistoric lake, once known as Lago Minchin, covers an astonishing 10,000 square kilometers, or 3,900 square miles, and measures approximately 130 kilometers, or 80 miles across, making it the largest salt flats on planet Earth, approximately 100 times the size of the famous Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah.
Whoa.
After putting down some miles across the Earth's largest saltine cracker, we made it to the crossroads of Incahuasi, an ancient volcanic island inhabited by 10-meter-tall, 1,000-year-old giant cacti, and one of the most surreal spots in the world.
Howdy. ¿Cómo está?
¿Todo bien?
Bien, todo perfecto.
¿De dónde son?
California.
Ah, California.
¿Y Argentina? ¿Dónde?
Argentina.
¿Dónde?
Salta.
¿Salta? Ah, qué bueno.
Cerca, cerca.
Yeah.
Habla bien español, ¿eh?
Un poco. So this is Isla, I don't remember how to pronounce it. Place is wacky looking, man. Otherworldly. Look at this. Even out here in the salt flats, you get chased by dogs. So apparently you have to register once you arrive on the island. You have to register your presence and get a ticket or something like that. Rose is, I don't know what Rose is doing. I think she's chasing dogs or something. Wow, this is a wild place for sure.
Salar De Uyuni's second most popular tourist attraction sees only a fraction of the organized tour groups that visit the accessible Plaza de Banderas.
Holy crap. That's cool. Oh man. This is absolutely wild. It's wild.
A steep and rugged path winds its way through the millennia-old cacti and razor-sharp, coral-like rock to an amazing viewpoint above the playa, and just so happened to be one of the only hikes I didn't hate.
I've never seen you this excited to hike before.
It just keeps going up and it keeps getting better.
Well, I get to officially chalk up another one of the wildest spots I've ever been to. This place is, it's hard to describe. It's very, very cool out here. I mean, the salt flat is what it is. It's a giant, expansive, flat salt, which, I mean, to be honest with you, after the first 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 kilometers, you've kind of seen it. But this island that just kind of rises from the salt with these giant cacti, this is really something different.
After a tour of the island, Chad helped render a bit of roadside assistance before we suited back up and went in search of accommodations for the night, specifically a cave on another island. And while details were sketchy, we had it on good authority that should we manage to find it, we would not be disappointed. We continued to pound salt north in the general direction of Volcan Tunupa, a long dormant volcano that dominates the skyline on the northern flanks of the playa. On our way to explore a chain of small islands and the caves rumored to contain the mummies of those who called this arid wilderness home some 3,000 years ago. But caution must be exercised when approaching the thin, outermost edges of the flats, as it is common for vehicles to break through and get stuck in a thick and unforgiving alkali mud.
Up for?
I was just letting you know that he told me to check it to make sure it wasn't muddy.
Yeah.
So we're good. I'm going to go see what's up this road.
But luckily, we were well into the dry season and able to explore the islands and their copious nooks and crannies to our heart's content.
Nice. All right, so this is kind of a cool spot, but we got word on a sheltered cave that's about 3 kilometers away, so we're gonna go check that out, see how that looks. And, if we like this better, we'll just come back. Hell of a view, though. 360-degree panorama.
Until finding the perfect rock shelter in the mouth of a cave on an uninhabited island in the middle of an ancient lake, surrounded by thousands of square miles of salt. Not a bad place to pitch our tent for the night and enjoy the sunset in the middle of the Salar De Uyuni. As far as campsites go, this one is going to be hard to beat.